someone was addressing Stevie Richards, and he said something, and it was bleeped, obviously, and it's like, oh god, I don't know what he said, but I know it ain't good.
One of the pit bulls called Stevie Richards a queer.
Yep, there it is.
But then the other pit bull insinuates that Raven fucks Stevie Richards from behind, whom they've already claimed to be a queer.
Yeah,
And then
it's kind of redundant.
Snot Dudley and Dudley Dudley were representing the Dudley Boys brothers. Snot was worthless. He just got his ass whooped. Dudley came in throwing bombs and actually got something going, and then Snot got tagged in for some reason, and he goes back to getting his ass whooped. He immediately missed an elbow drop after Dudley Dudley gave him the advantage. You had to do something. You have the whole crowd saying, you all suck dick. You got to save that somehow.
Well, I think that was the whole point of it. Send out two jobbers and then have this guy come and wreck shop. It kind of reminded me of like an early Brock Lesnar or Mike Awesome, which I'm sure we'll be getting
really
into.
Weird. It was a mixture of him reacting and playing to the crowd having none of what Shane Douglas was selling, and then Shane also trying to interject a pre-scripted promo, and none of it worked except for the crowd.
Yeah, I don't know. I was cringing at this whole match. Like, I get being hardcore, but this seems like it was just mangling each other just to do it.
They were just taking turns stabbing each other. I was
thinking, because this is like the first event they're having, or one of the first, very early in their career, ECW. So, can they even afford Metallica right now? Oh man, this is going to be some trouble. Maybe this was a mistake, watching ECW. This is what we're going to be in for.
ECW Hardcore Heaven 1995.
It is on Peacock, censored. There was one moment where it was like someone was addressing Stevie Richards, and he said something, and it was bleeped, obviously, and it's like, oh god, I don't know what he said, but I know it ain't good.
This seemed kind of tame.
They didn't want that language on there.
The language wasn't even that bad.
It wasn't.
The crowd, on the other hand, the crowd was great.
Yeah. At one point, I did think they were a little much.
Oh, no, I loved them. So we're in the ECW arena in Philadelphia. I like how it opens kind of like a snuff film. There's just the text with no sound. It was very VHS.
Yes, just like the flickering Hardcore Heaven when no music or anything.
It had like a evidence tape sort of vibe.
Yeah. I thought maybe the song was already edited, but no.
Well, then we cut to the ECW arena. Some nerdy-looking big dude in tie-dye is standing looking confused. It turns out to be Big Dick Dudley. And he is the manager of the debuting Dudley Boys, or Brothers, depending on which call sheet they were reading. And then Raven comes out with his pit bulls, who look like Discount Steiner Brothers. Stevie Richards and Beulah McGillicuddy are also there. Richards and Raven are the ECW Tag Team Champions. I guess they just won. And we're having a match of some kind. And it's the Pit Bulls versus the Dudley Boys brothers. When the Pit Bulls were introduced, the bald one threw his chain down like a badass, only to just bend over and pick it back up immediately like an idiot. I kind of laughed at that. Snot Dudley and Dudley Dudley were representing the Dudley Boys brothers. Snot was worthless. He just got his ass whooped. Dudley came in throwing bombs and actually got something going, and then Snot got tagged in for some reason, and he goes back to getting his ass whooped. He immediately missed an elbow drop after Dudley Dudley gave him the advantage.
Yeah. And it should be pointed out that, yes, he's saying the Dudley Boys and Dudley Brothers. They did get interchanged, but this is not the Dudley Boys that we would know.
Not yet.
This is a different Dudley Boys. So I guess they're going to get recasted.
This is the Genesis.
Yeah, so the idea was there, even though they didn't know what the hell to call them. At this point, I didn't even realize it was one person just doing the commentary, but turns out it was.
I love Joey Styles.
Yeah.
So the Pit Bulls kicked Snot's ass outside the ring and used a chair on him. And then Stevie Richards, who the crowd was actually paying attention to, not the match, kisses some lady in the stands. Beulah doesn't like that. They each grab each other's heads and they start shaking. And Styles goes, "We got a cat fight! We got a cat fight!" And then Raven grabs Beulah and Stevie by the hair, drags them to the back. But that's okay, because Snot Dudley is still the legal man, and he gets powerbombed off the top rope. After a really, really long time, one of the Pit Bulls goes for the cover. But Dudley breaks up the pin with a double axe handle from the top rope. And then he pulls Snot on top of one of the Pit Bulls for the win. Somehow, the Pit Bulls forgot how to beat the fuck out of Snot without having Raven ringside. After the match, the Pitbulls were pissed at Raven and Stevie Richards because they couldn't win a handicap match. One of the Pitbulls called Stevie Richards a queer.
Yep, there it is. That was blocked out, and I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what he said."
But then the other Pitbull insinuates that Raven fucks Stevie Richards from behind, whom they've already claimed to be a queer.
Yeah,
And then
it's kind of redundant.
Then the Pitbulls say change is a coming, whatever that means. Then some fans got the opportunity to play wrestler for a while. It was Dino Sendoff, Don E. Allen versus Chad Austin and the Broad Street Bully. The crowd chanted, "You all suck." Joey Styles said the match isn't very good. Broad Street Bully was the only one I could recognize, and that's only because he had his name written on his shirt. He also looked like a stay-at-home dad versus an actual bully. I don't know what he was going for. It looked like he was wearing slacks and a hockey jersey.
I don't know. Now, Styles did have a funny line with this match, though, because he said, "Well, this is clearly never going to make the air." Now, I didn't have the captions on, so I can't tell if he said ECW or WCW, where you can't tell the stars from the jobbers.
Probably WCW.
Yeah, they mentioned WCW. They mentioned WWF.
Well, yeah, they're punching up. You can tell how big a promotion is by how often they mention the competition.
Well, this one was a big one.
Well, the crowd switches their chant up to "You all suck dick." One of the guys actually bumps into his partner, and the guy falls out of the ring. And all of a sudden, heavy metal music plays. Then Paul Heyman comes out with his version of The Undertaker, or Diesel. Turns out the guy's name is 911. Crowd was very excited to see him. So far, they've shown good judgment, so I'm taking their word for it. And then 911 proceeds to chokeslam everybody. And Heyman asks the crowd if they want 911 to chokeslam someone again. The crowd asks for 10 chokeslams. 911 compromises with a double chokeslam, while Heyman says, "Welcome to EC fucking W." And Joey Styles was super pissed that referee Bill Alfonso didn't get chokeslammed. This kind of reminded me of the Showtime at the Apollo.
How so?
You know, when you had the shitty comedians and then the guy would come with the hook and get him off the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Only in this version, everybody got chokeslammed. Which you had to do something. You have the whole crowd saying, "You all suck dick." You got to save that somehow.
Well, I think that was the whole point of it. Send out 2 jobbers and then have this guy come and wreck shop. It kind of reminded me of like an early Brock Lesnar or Mike Awesome, which I'm sure we'll be getting into at some point
Hopefully
soon. But yeah, he would just come out and interrupt matches and destroy everybody on the TV show. So that's what it kind of reminded me of. It's like, oh, this is just the...
It didn't seem like they were going anywhere with it, though. It seemed like a whole bunch of new people had a match that sucked. And Heyman said, "Okay, well, let's fix that."
Oh, yeah, it's to establish 911 as the, I don't know, the beast of the
But he's not the champion.
Not yet. Maybe he's going to be soon.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. I never heard of him until this.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was just a big guy that chokeslammed some people. Oh, okay. Well, so some fat guy's walking in the ring with a cop. Big Val Puccio is what they call him, apparently. His t-shirt looked like it was covered in cum stains. It's worth noting. Then some guy who looks like he got lost on the way to a gay biker bar walks out. They call him Hack Myers. And then Myers tried to body slam Val off the bat, hurt his back. I think the crowd called Val a fat fuck. And then Myers won after Val missed an elbow drop. And Val hits Myers with 2 mini tsunamis after the match. Squished him because Val was big.
Yeah, he was 500 pounds. I don't know if there can be, but he wasn't a good 500 pounds. He looked like he should have been part of like those shows that the people were stuck in their house. As opposed to like a Yokozuna
Could move around.
Was also
looked athletic.
Yeah, this guy didn't look like he had any kind of athletics in him.
Yeah.
It's like, where do they find this guy? And then also his hair, he had like it was cut this way, but he had like a freaking ponytail.
Like Sultan.
But the rest of his hair was cut.
Well, the other guy's hair wasn't any better. He had like wisps on top of his head, and then with that facial hair that was cut like with a rusty butter knife.
Yeah. But the good thing about it is they were characters. Like both of them. Tuccio, you'll remember that guy. I've already forgotten the other guy, but he's a big character, and I'm sure he'll be a big part of ECW going forward. At least to be a jobber.
Well, then we have Taz versus Too Cold Scorpio. Finally, something worth watching, right?
Yeah, I did think, oh man, this is going to be some trouble. Like, maybe this was a mistake watching ECW. This is what we're going to be in for. And then, yeah, at this match, it's like, okay, finally something to sit up for.
Well, I had to keep telling myself that, okay, we're just starting. Maybe it gets good. New Jack hasn't dove off at something yet.
Yeah, we're in the learning years. We don't even have the Dudley Boys as we know them yet.
Unfortunately, we're not going to see Sandman's, 6-minute entrance while Enter the Sandman plays. We'll see the 6-minute entrance, but yet. It'll be awkward.
Oh, I'm going to watch it in full.
So Too Cold Scorpio is wearing Taz's colors because he's that N-word. And it's weird seeing Taz with hair and without sunglasses. And I guess Scorpio was the wily guy that will cut a few corners to get the advantage, while Taz is supposed to be the real shooter wrestler guy. And Taz out-wrestled Scorpio, then Scorpio hits Taz with everything he had. There's a powerbomb, a pile driver, then the tumbleweed, which might be the coolest high-risk maneuver ever. And then Scorpio starts strutting after his tumbleweed instead of, pinning Taz. Taz no-sells the tumbleweed, and then he wins with the Tazplex, despite Scorpio having his leg on the ropes. Then Bill Alfonso comes out, says Scorpio's foot was on the ropes, and demands that the match is restarted. Taz threatens to kick Alfonso's ass. Alfonso says he'll shut ECW down if any wrestler touches him. Heyman tells Alfonso that no ECW wrestler will ever touch him because Heyman's going to kick Alfonso's ass himself. Then Scorpio attacks Taz with a chair. Alfonso takes Heyman out with a forearm to the back of the head. And Scorpio leg drops the chair on Taz from the top rope. And Alfonso counts the pin for Scorpio. Too Cold Scorpio officially has a win over Taz.
I don't know about that. Did the match ever officially
I think
start?
They rang the bell.
I don't think they rang the bell.
Pretty sure they did.
I don't know. To me, I don't remember the bell ringing. But if they did, then yes, he officially beat Taz. I mean, I don't think Taz was on like a big undefeated streak ever, but well, obviously not if he's already lost.
Yeah, I don't know. I know. I think there was an undefeated streak with him and Sabu, or was that Sabu and RVD? I don't know. See, something to look forward to. See, we gotta get through the shit to get to the good stuff. Joey Styles is in the ring. ECW has a hotline, believe it or not. And Shane Douglas going to the WWF is the topic of discussion, and so are the tag titles. But then Shane Douglas interrupts wearing a World Wrestling Federation t-shirt. They try to build up the will he or won't he with Shane Douglas in the WWF. Crowd sings the goodbye song by Steam. Then they say they want Ric Flair. Shane was having a public thing with him. He was like publicly calling him out and shit. I don't know if he was trying to start a feud or what, but obviously Rick's not going to come to ECW. It's silly. Douglas takes his shirt off, calls Flair a piece of shit, calls the fans pieces of shit. Shane says some more shit while the crowd woos at him. The arena and Heyman are pieces of shit too. Douglas said some bullshit about a conspiracy. The crowd still want Flair. Flair's still a piece of shit. Douglas says he's best friends with Cactus Jack. Crowd chants, shut the fuck up. Okay, it was really weird. It was a mixture of him reacting and playing to the crowd having none of what Shane Douglas was selling, and then Shane also trying to interject a pre-scripted promo. And none of it worked, except for the crowd. The crowd was great.
Yeah, this is the one part I was like, okay, maybe the crowd's a little much, because it seemed like it was going on forever because he had his points he had to get out, but they weren't letting him.
Well, you have to think, though, Shane Douglas was basically like the Cody Rhodes of ECW. He was their champion, and now he's leaving for the big leagues. It's not like he's just a guy in the card leaving for WWF.
Uh-huh. I thought he was a big thing in NWA.
I don't know about that. Maybe. But I think NWA and ECW were affiliated, and then Heyman broke off from that. I think that's the whole thing where Shane threw the ECW title down. I think that was part of the NWA or something. I could be wrong in my history there.
Fair enough.
Douglas gets fed up and finally says he's leaving. Big secret there. Like he came out with a WWF shirt.
which was blurred out for me.
Yeah, it was blurred out for me too, but you can still tell what it was.
Well, he said it, but yeah, it was completely blurred out, and it was blurred out every time he said
Yes.
WWF.
Yeah, it was censored, but you can still tell what they were saying and stuff.
Okay, and we're gonna have to go on a little series, like A&E does the docu-series of finding shit. You have to go on a little series of us finding the lost ECW tapes so we can see this unedited. It's probably on eBay. What was it? 96?
95.
EC dub. Where could I have 95? Oh yeah. It's on DVD. It would have been a VHS though.
As long as queer's not censored, that's all I care about.
Well, they're charging for it.
How much?
There's around $30 to $50.
Fuck that. Not for this? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, then Douglas accuses the wrestling commentators of not being real journalists, which was weird. And then Douglas continues with his prepared promo. He stops to call a lady in the crowd a bitch. For some reason, Douglas is dripping with sweat, even though he's just standing and talking. Turns out the arena didn't have air conditioning. Then Douglas holds up his WWF shirt, says this is his official announcement. He's gone from ECW, even though he just said he's leaving. Douglas then tells one half of the arena to kiss his ass, then proceeds to tell the other half to suck his dick, especially one lady in the crowd. And the crowd sings the Steam song again. Joey Styles looks into the camera and sings along, which made the whole segment for me. This was the longest segment I've ever fucking seen in wrestling, but Joey Styles just singing in the camera made it for me. Then Woman comes out, Benoit's wife. She offers to let Douglas and Sandman tag team her if Douglas stays in ECW. I think the crowd says Shane has a pussy now. Douglas says Woman is the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, but she's also the biggest douchebag. Then Woman slaps Shane. He talks some fucking more. Then he gets on his knees so Woman can slap him again. Woman obliges, but Douglas catches her hand at the last second, and Sandman comes out to save Woman. And then Cactus Jack comes out. Sandman gets chased off. Cactus Jack tries to shake hands with his best friend, Shane Douglas, and Douglas just walks by Cactus without even looking at him, which I thought was funny. And Styles chases after Douglas because Douglas hasn't talked enough. And then Douglas vows to get Sandman tonight. So that'll be fun.
Yep. A lot happened there.
That did not make me a Shane Douglas fan, I'll tell you that.
Well, seems like he's gone, so.
Not for long, I would imagine. So we have Raven and Stevie Richards versus Tommy Dreamer and Luna Vachon. The Luna Vachon for the ECW tag team titles. Starts off with Raven attacking Tommy Dreamer, and then Richards just whooping Luna's ass. And then Tommy Dreamer saves Luna from Richards. Luna proceeds to attack Richards' dick. Dreamer holds Raven in the stand so a fan can hit him with something metal. Dreamer kicks Raven's ass by the entrance area while Luna beats up Stevie in the ring. Dreamer and Luna double team Stevie until Raven makes the save. Then Raven and Stevie double team Luna. Stevie hits her with a chair in the back. Luna was a trooper. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
Raven ends up DDTing Dreamer on a newspaper stand by the entrance ramp. And then Raven and Stevie double team Luna, hit her with a double DDT. Luna kicks out. Dreamer recovers, attacks Raven with a chair, and Luna hits Stevie with a superplex. But Beulah comes in with white powder to Luna's eyes, and Richards gets the pin. So they retained.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that match at all.
I mean, it was realistic because, Stevie Richards is the pussy. He's the queer, as the pit bull said.
Yeah, apparently they're playing him up as, so it would be an even match then if it's like that.
With him and Luna, yeah.
Like, in a normal scenario, a man ain't going to struggle with a woman, but this ain't no man.
Well, after that, some bald guy makes Bill Alfonso referee the Taipei death match. Alfonso had no issues whatsoever. He was okay with it. And then we have Ian Rotten versus Axel Rotten. Apparently they're brothers. And both Rottens come out with taped fists dipped in broken glass. Ian gives Axel a light jab, causes him to bleed. Alfonso calls off the match due to the competitor's lack of vision. Then Public Enemy and the Gangstas come out and start brawling for some reason. Alfonso runs away during the commotion, so they just start the match again. And this was really fucking dumb. They just like take turns cutting each other and stabbing each other with the glass. Axel hits Ian with a DDT, goes to get thumbtacks. Axel goes to powerbomb Ian on the thumbtacks. Ian reverses it with a back body drop. Axel lands on the thumbtacks. Ian follows up with a splash for the win. So Axel was, laying in the thumbtacks, and they did the thing where he sat up and you were supposed to see the thumbtacks embedded into him, but he was wearing a shirt. So it wasn't really the visual he was trying to go for.
Yeah, I don't know. I was cringing at this whole match. Like, I get being hardcore, but this seems like it was just mangling each other just to do it.
Yeah, they were just taking turns stabbing each other. It wasn't a wrestling match. It wasn't a death match. It wasn't a match at all.
Yeah, apparently the rules, from what I heard, was that they have glass taped to their fists. That's the thing of the
And that's
match.
fine. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind them using the glass in the match. What I do mind is the fact that that's all they did was stab each other and cut each other.
Yeah, it's the point of it, I guess.
Okay. No, that was just lazy.
And also, by the way, they said this was the first ever of its kind.
Hopefully the last.
You can understand that also they were probably just making it up as they go.
Well, they're both bleeding profusely, and I'm like, well, what have you done?
They cut each other up. That's what.
Well, then we cut to Luna and Stevie Richards fighting again, and they're followed by Raven and Tommy Dreamer. Dreamer ultimately gets DDT'd on a title belt. Luna gets leg dropped. The Pitbulls come back out. Raven and Richards want the Pitbulls to super bomb Luna. That's power bomb off the top rope. Raven and Richards attack the Pitbulls because they won't super bomb a woman. Richards is about to get super bombed. Then the Dudley Boys brothers come out and attack the Pitbulls. Luna, Dreamer, Raven, and Richards all fight again. Pitbulls come back out. Richards and Raven run. Then the Dudleys come back. More fighting happens. Good guys eventually chase off the bad guys. So I guess the whole point was that the Pitbulls are now away from Raven.
Good
I
guys.
don't know.
Yeah, they got fed up. So they broke free. And I guess they'll be challenging for the titles next, I'm assuming.
It would make sense.
Well, they got to do some winning, though. But,
I don't know. The Dudley Boys brothers are involved somehow. So maybe the Pitbulls need to get through them first.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I like the idea of like a family, but I like it when it's more of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel or, Hills of West Virginia type feel. Not a bunch of goobers and tie-dye and overalls.
Joey Styles did mention that the reason he was calling them both is like depending on which run sheet you're reading. Yeah. That's why
he said he had
interchanging
he had
names.
both.
But it was the most non-committal way of doing it. Oh, the Dudley Brothers boys. Or no, it's the other way around. The Dudley Boys brothers.
Well, then we had the Sandman versus Cactus Jack. And Sandman has a cigarette and a beer during his entrance. And he took his sweet ass time.
I don't know. This entrance. And again, I was watching on Peacock, so maybe there's a copyright thing going on. Because I couldn't tell what the music was. It wasn't Enter Sandman.
It sounded like some generic bullshit.
So,
I would imagine that it's copyright.
Well, I was thinking, because this is like the first event they're having, or one of the first, very early in their career, ECW. So, can they even afford Metallica right now? That's what I was thinking. This was the struggle going on in my head. I was like, I don't know if they can afford it.
I don't know if they ever could.
It's just like, don't get caught.
Kind of how it was back then.
Well, I mean, wasn't this around the time where they were suing Napster? Because, they didn't play.
2000. So we're 5 years away.
Okay. Boy, is that a callback, Napster. And then there was that LimeWire. Remember that one?
Pirate Bay.
That was a good one.
I hated downloading that way.
And the internet sucked, so it took all day.
For one song.
Yeah. But you get that full album, though.
Without paying for it, it was great.
Yeah. But yeah, you had to wait for it though.
I remember the first thing I ever downloaded on Napster was Metallica. Because of
I
Metallica.
don't remember the first thing I downloaded because they were getting upset
That's the
over it.
only reason I knew what Napster was, is because of Metallica.
I don't remember what the first thing I got was. Got no idea.
Well, Cactus comes out with a fist wrapped in barbed wire. And then Sandman just beats the shit out of Cactus with a Singapore cane. Woman brings out a strand of barbed wire from the back. Sandman proceeds to wrap the barbed wire around himself and gives Cactus stinger splashes in the corner. I don't know how Sandman wasn't affected by it. Maybe the beer. And Cactus ends up beating Sandman's ass with a chair. He starts torturing him with his own barbed wire. Woman comes in with a cane to Cactus, which has no effect, and Cactus shoves Woman hard to the mat. There's a ref bump. Then Shane Douglas appears. Yay. He elbows drops the ref, hits Sandman with a pile driver, and then Douglas turns on Cactus Jack by hitting him with the Singapore cane. And then Douglas throws Sandman on top of Cactus, and Sandman ends up retaining the belt. The bald guy overturns the match, and Douglas gets pissed. Douglas says he'll stay in ECW if Baldy gets on his knees and begs. Baldy fires Shane Douglas instead. And Douglas kicks Baldy's ass. Eventually, 911 comes back and chokeslams Douglas.
Yes. Hard to keep up with all that. And I thought it was weird where he's like, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies right behind you, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I didn't know that the Sandman was that athletic.
Yeah, he used to do that top rope springboard thing.
Oh, yeah, I guess he did. Well, this is good. I get to brush up on my ECW. But yeah, that was Hardcore Heaven 95. Oh, no. Public Enemy versus Gangsters. Just a stupid fight everywhere match. Public Enemy won for some reason. And then stupid Public Enemy celebrated after. A whole bunch of fans came into the ring and did the arm wave thing. Fuck them.
They were major over, too. And also after the match, before the fans got in the ring, of course, they were still fighting.
Yeah, they assured us that the war between the Gangstas and Public Enemy will continue.
Yep. But it was good optics there at the end to have the whole crowd in there waving their hands. A lot of overweight people.
Well, it is Philly.
Like there was an athletic person in sight. And then also my takeaway from the Gangstas, the one, what was his name? Mustafa. It surprised me there. Didn't think that was who's going to be coming out. You know, you hear the name Mustafa. That's not what I thought was going to happen.
Oh. Well, if I hear New Jack first and then Mustafa, I'm going to think Black Israelite or something.
Yeah, I did not think that, but there you go.
Well, later, Axel Rotten was named the number one contender to Sandman's World Heavyweight Championship for Heatwave. So maybe we'll see that. Several rivalries from Hardcore Heaven continued into Heatwave. Taz teamed with Eddie Guerrero to take on Too Cold Scorpio and Dean Malenko.
Boy, he was going to cook then.
Public Enemy and the Gangstas competed in a steel cage match. Luna Vachon and Stevie Richards competed in a steel cage match. Hack Myers and Val Puccio had a rematch. And then the Pitbulls teamed with Tommy Dreamer to take on Raven and the Dudley Brothers boys.
Well, I thought I was going to cook. They have two back-to-back steel cage matches.
I don't know if it's back-to-back.
Maybe they're not back-to-back.
Yeah, there's two steel cage.
Two on the same card? Okay. I'll get to see Mr. Puccio again. There's that.
And Shane Douglas made his last ECW appearance in Hardcore Heaven as he would leave ECW for a stint in the World Wrestling Federation. It was short and unsuccessful. And he returned to ECW at House Party on January 5th, 1996. So, again, this was 95. Do the math there.
Not even a year.
And our next ECW pay-per-view is November to Remember, 95. The main event is Tommy Dreamer and Terry Funk versus Cactus Jack and Raven. But before that, we have WCW Uncensored, 1999. Took place in Louisville, Kentucky. 9 matches were contested. Main event was Ric Flair versus Hollywood Hogan in a barbed wire steel cage first blood match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
That's
Yes.
something.
Booker T faced Scott Steiner for the World Television Championship. Perry Saturn faced Chris Jericho again in a dog collar match. Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko faced Kurt Hennig and Barry Windham in a lumberjack match for the tag team titles. And we also had the debut of Sandman from ECW. He's called Hack. He was in a triple threat match with Bam Bam Bigelow and Raven. So Bam Bam lost to Goldberg, and now he's at the bottom of the card.
Now he's facing Hack
and Raven.
Good stuff. It started out rough, but it landed there.
Did it?
Well, there was that Taz and Too Cold Scorpio match.
And even that was like, I was expecting a little bit more, I guess. That was just a good match. It wasn't anything special.
Yeah, maybe I was just excited to see Taz and Too Cold Scorpio.
Yeah, I love me some Flash Flunk.
Yeah. So maybe it wasn't like the best, but it
wasn't even close to the best.
They're going to get better.
And it's different. I appreciated the fact that it wasn't the same formulaic structure, I guess, that WCW and WWF seem to have.
Boy, it wasn't. There's moments for me where the people would just like, it would go to commercial because I'm Team Cheap still. So it'd go to commercial, come back, and there's just like transition that they did, or it's like,
oh yeah,
into the next segment, and then there'd just like be people in the ring.
Yeah, there's barely any entrances.
Yeah, a lot of people would look like jobbers, so you couldn't even tell what was going on.
I had to keep telling myself, this isn't WWF, so they don't have Vince's money. You have to open up your imagination a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, it's not going to be the higher production we've been used to.
Or the costumes, or nothing is going to be high quality.
Well, that's fair. It's just getting used to it, of course.
You got to use your imagination.